I'm doing good. Uh-huh.
Hold on one second.
DEXA scan as well as some test results. And am I on speakerphone?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. Okay. All right. But do you want to go over the bone testing first?
Yes.
Okay. So just to get some background information, I did find an older DEXA scan from 2018, and you're still taking vitamin D and the multivitamin.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then have you ever had any other treatments um, for your bones, for osteoporosis?
No, none.
Okay. And then any history of fracture?
And none.
Okay. And how about in your family, so like mom or sisters of having hip or leg fractures?
And none. I did about a few years ago. I was putting up some curtains in the bedroom, and I fell.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, maybe about 4 feet, but thank God nothing happened.
Oh, goodness. Okay. Um, and then any falls in the last year?
And no, this happened about, I don't know, maybe about 4 years ago or more, but
Okay.
it hasn't happened again.
Okay. And then do you have things in the home to help reduce your risk of falls? So, lighting for at night, or a mat for the tub, or a chair for the tub, anything like that?
I had something to hold on to before I do my shower. I had it put in about, I don't know, a
Okay.
week and a half ago, thinking like that. And yes, I have
Okay.
lighting in the bathroom.
Okay. All right. So you recently had a test called a DEXA scan. So it's an X-ray that looks at your bone density at a couple different places. So it checks your spine, your thigh bone, as well as your hip. So it does show that you have osteoporosis, which means thinning of your bones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You had a similar test done in 2018, and it actually shows that some areas there is a little bit of improvement. So in the spine and in your thigh bone, the density has improved, but in the hip it was a little bit worse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have a couple of options here. Generally, with having osteoporosis, I do recommend taking medicines to help strengthen your bones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
So vitamin D and calcium do help, but since there was only a little bit of improvement over the last 2 years, and then one of the areas actually has gotten a little bit more thin, I do think that discussing and possibly starting a medicine for this would be a good idea. So the reason that we treat thinning of the bones is to help, one, strengthen your bones, and then two, reduce your risk for a fracture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what questions do you have for me so far?
Okay, so regarding what kinds of medications are you talking about?
Yeah. So generally, I prescribe a type of medicine called a bisphosphonate. All right. The medicine's name is alendronate, and the brand name is Fosamax.
Okay.
Okay. So it basically will help slow down the body's breakdown of the bones, and helps to promote rebuilding the bones.
Okay.
All right. So usually with this medicine, if we do start the medication, I usually check back in a month, 2 months, just to make sure it's not causing you any issues. And then we would probably want to repeat your bone scan in 2 to 3 years or so, just to assess to see if the medicine has helped.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. So alendronate does have some possible side effects. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it can cause some stomach upset or irritation. So I do recommend taking it in the morning on an empty stomach with just water. And it's important to be sitting upright for 30 minutes after you take the medicine. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And you should stay that way until you had your first meal of the day. So generally, it works best to take it about half hour before breakfast.
Okay.
All right. There's two different approaches to it. One is you could take it every day, and we would use a lower dose. Or if it's easier, there's also a once weekly, but the dose is higher, but you just do it once a week.
Okay.
All right. Other things they could possibly cause is some, muscle pain or some bone pain. And then the possible side effect that we do worry about is some jaw. It's called osteonecrosis or breakdown in your jawbone. It's rare. All right. Generally, most patients take this medicine without any issues, but it is something that I do want to make you aware of.
Okay.
If you're noticing any of those things, though, you can always stop the medicine and let me know.
Okay.
But again, just comparing your current bone density to 2 years ago, seeing that there's a little bit more thinning despite taking the vitamin D and the calcium, I do think it makes sense to add a medicine to help strengthen your bones, to reduce your risk of fractures.
Okay. Okay.
Other questions for me?
So far, that pretty much I think covers. You'll make do a prescription for the Fosamax.
Yeah. Do you think once a week or every day is a little bit easier to remember?
Well, let's see. I think maybe we'll go. It's kind of hard to really say right now because regarding the Nepazil that she's been on right now, she was increased to 10 milligrams, and she's starting to have issues with that. She's lost about maybe 4 to 5 pounds, and she's down to 98.4. And I think we started the home health. She was at 100 and maybe 105. She says. So
okay.
So and then so she went from taking the 5 milligrams to doing the 10 at night, and so I think within the last maybe month, more or less, she's been having issues with sleeping.
So I'm taking in the morning now.
So then we went ahead and told her just to take it in the morning.
Okay.
We felt that it was important for her to get her sleep in the evening.
Okay.
So that's kind of an issue right now with her because there's been a couple of times, I think last week, where she opted not to take it at all.
Okay.
So
you think it would be easier? We can try once a week.
Okay, once a week.
That way, she doesn't have to worry about it for the rest of the week. So we can try that.
Okay.
All right. And then I did get the DMV forms for the disability placard.
Okay.
So, unfortunately, reviewing her medical history, I don't think there's any health problem that was there that would qualify her for the disability parking placard. Was there something that was impairing, like either her vision or her ability to walk further distances?
No, when the social worker came out and informed her of all the programs and services that were available, she asked us if we thought that was something that we might benefit from, that they might benefit from. So we decided to go ahead and see, if she would qualify to get one, and if she didn't, then if that's okay, and if not, and if then she did, then great.
I don't think that the dementia is, but I'll have to check. Okay, so that's one I wasn't sure about.
That's the method of driving.
I don't think that it is, but I'll have to check on that.
Okay. All right.
If it is, then I'm more than happy to complete it, and we'll let you know.
Okay. That sounds good.
And then the last thing was a couple of her test results.
Mm-hmm.
So we did blood tests, one for the genetic testing that you had asked about,
Mm-hmm.
and the other was for her prediabetes. So the prediabetes is fine. Her A1C was 5.9. Okay, it was 6 in May.
Okay.
So it's otherwise remained stable. So given that and her weight loss, I think it would be fine to try to supplement her diet to help with the weight. I'm less concerned about the blood sugar than I am the weight. Okay.
Okay.
So if you wanted to add on something like Ensure, that would be fine to do.
Okay.
The genetic testing for Alzheimer's, so it looks at a certain gene segment. Okay. So that's called the APO gene, and her type did come back as E4 for both copies of her genes. Okay, so this can be associated with an increased risk for Alzheimer's.
Okay.
The thing is, though, the genetic testing isn't diagnostic of Alzheimer's. So even if she's having some memory issues, and with this genetic test coming back showing both copies of her genes with this E4 type, that doesn't necessarily mean that, she does have Alzheimer's. Things would still be addressed from a clinical standpoint in terms of, what impairments are occurring and how they're progressing. But the genetic test did come back showing that she is called homozygous, so she has two copies of the E4 type of this gene. Okay. So that this type is increased with or associated with an increased risk for Alzheimer's, but I wouldn't say that testing positive or having it present is diagnostic of Alzheimer's. Okay. What questions do you guys have for me about that?
Let's see. Basically, she's still kind of, repeating stories. My dad's driving her everywhere now. He's not really, we're not letting her drive anymore. I think today this afternoon, she has her last, home visit, with the nurse, and they've kind of, been coming and checking everything. The Community Action Commission did come in and install like a safety rail, stepping in and out of the shower. So we know of all the services, like if we need to get a shower chair in the future or wheelchair, or crutches, whatever. So we kind of got informed of all the services that are available for her right now. We're kind of just taking it one day at a time.
Okay. All right. And then how are you feeling, Juanita?
I'm doing good. Sometimes I feel that I could sleep more, but yeah.
Me too.
But sometimes I take a little 10-minute nap in the day.
Okay.
But
any issues as you go through your day?
No, it's just sometimes a little loss of appetite, and some days good appetite.
Okay. All right. And then when is the next time you guys are seeing the neurologist?
In January.
In January. Okay. All right. Okay. So I'll write a summary of what we discussed. Okay. I'll send in the prescription for Fosamax once a week. We can plan on checking in probably a month or two, just to see how that's going. It's fine for her to continue the vitamin D and the multivitamin. Okay. I'm glad that you guys got some equipment put in to reduce risk of falls. Pre-diabetes looks fine. So if you wanted to supplement the diet to help with the weight, I think that's okay. All right. The genetic testing did show two copies of a type of the gene that's associated with an increased risk for developing Alzheimer's. But for now, I don't think that it really impacts the treatment.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So then, because of the concern that we have from her weight loss, is it possible for you to maybe put in an order for a nutritionist to come and just speak to her about better ways of because she does eat, you know?
We definitely can do that. I think that's a good idea. So I can definitely get that ordered too.
Okay.
All right.
And then another thing, one of my sisters was seeing if it's possible for my mom to have to get a Candida albicans test. Are you familiar with those?
Yes. So we can do. There's a couple different ways to test for candida. So one would be a blood test. Is that the one that your sister was thinking
Yeah, I think that's the one she was
Okay.
thinking. Uh-huh.
All right. Is that mainly related to the weight loss as well?
Well, that's what we're wondering if that has anything to do with it, you know.
Yeah. So my suspicion is probably less likely, but I would be fine ordering that.
Okay. Yeah, because
All
when I
right.
when I talked to the nurse and told her of the weight loss, she said, well, the nurse said, well, some medications that the side effect is weight loss. Um, she said there when you're on a medication basically that causes weight loss, you at some point you when you're losing weight, you reach a plateau and then you just stop losing weight. So we thought maybe that might be what's happening, but
Hmm.
she's continuing to lose a little bit, you know, it seems like a little bit each week. So now we're going, okay, are we relating all of this weight loss to the medications that she's on? Are we to attribute it to that? Because we know that she's eating, we know more or less what she's eating.
And that
When
hasn't changed.
and it hasn't really, yeah, it hasn't really changed much. You know,
Okay.
she does say, oh, well, I'm not hungry in the morning, but I know I should eat something, so I eat something.
Yeah.
So they do eat, you know, she is eating and she's, you know, maybe not 100% eating healthy foods, but she is eating at least 80% of what they're eating is good food.
Okay.
So now we're like, okay, so, you know, what is it that's contributing? We know that some of the, maybe, I think I read the donepezil, there may be some weight loss, some loss of appetite. And I know some medications have a tendency to do that. But we have tried to tell them to drink Ensure, drink the protein drinks, you know, both her and my dad, and they're kind of like, well, you know, we really, you know, they don't really show an interest in that. So we're
Hmm.
kind of at a loss for that. You know, we can encourage it, but we can't make them drink it. You know.
I see. Yeah. That's true. But no, we can at least have a nutritionist talk with her too, and then
Okay.
that might be a way to review the diet more thoroughly as well.
Okay, that's
All
perfect.
right.
Okay.
So once again, I'll get the prescription sent in, and I'll write down a couple of things that we discussed, and we'll get in touch with you guys to set up a follow up appointment. All
Okay,
right.
that's perfect.
Okay. Thanks for your time, guys.
Okay, you too. Bye bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I think the thing is, I don't even like to cook anymore.
Huh?
The thing is, I don't even like to cook anymore. You know?
Well, yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
You know,
the
you
last
don't.
time that the lady came and she was talking about maybe sending somebody with food and stuff like that. And I said, well, I don't know.
Yeah.